In the Gulf of Mexico, at the easternmost tip of Louisiana, the Chandeleur Islands form the very first line of defense for the rapidly diminishing coastlines of both Louisiana and Mississippi. But over the course of the past century, more than 89% of the island's acreage has disappeared, leaving the delicate coastal ecosystems of the mainland vulnerable. Formed over 2,000 years ago, this narrow arc of sediment and sand spans nearly 50 miles from end to end and provides a crucial habitat for a multitude of plant and animal species. As part of the Breton National Wildlife Refuge, the second oldest refuge in the country, this remote barrier island wilderness and its inhabitants are federally protected. To the casual observer, they may appear to be somewhat static, but over time, the ebb and flow of the tides has ever so slowly reshaped these islands. This cycle of erosion and accretion is a natural part of the life of barrier islands, as they play their part in protecting the inner wetlands from the impact of ocean waves, the intrusion of salt water, and the damaging effects of storm surges. But the ferocity and frequency of recent hurricanes has greatly diminished the island's ability to rebuild themselves. In addition to the devastating effects of Hurricane Katrina in 2005, the islands were hit hard by the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. Their close proximity to the spill resulted in frequent and repeated oiling impacts, further compounding the rate of their deterioration. And now, the Chandeleur Islands are vanishing at an alarming pace, leaving numerous species of plants and animals in a state of decline. In fact, nowhere else in Louisiana can such a vast number of species in the greatest need of conservation be found. The abundance and diversity of the plant and animal life on the islands is not a matter of chance. As with all valuable real estate, location is everything. Nearly 25 miles offshore, these uninhabited islands provide an ideal sanctuary for fish and wildlife. Furthermore, their central location allows them to play a pivotal role in maintaining biodiversity by serving as a habitat linkage between the eastern and western regions of the Gulf, promoting the health of the entire Gulf Coast and attracting an impressive variety of marine species, the most varied and abundant of which can be found just beneath the surface. Seagrass. As the only marine seagrass meadow in Louisiana, it is among the most diverse assemblage of marine grasses found anywhere in the entire Gulf of Mexico. These meadows make ideal habitats for wildlife and fisheries, providing shelter and sustenance for a myriad of marine creatures. Of the many varieties of grasses, one stands out from the rest, not necessarily for its visual attraction, but for what it attracts. Known as the old-growth forest of seagrasses, this turtle grass is an essential foraging ground for loggerhead, green, and Kemp's Ridley turtles, the most endangered species of sea turtle on the planet. In just the past 2 years, 108 sea turtle crawls were documented across the islands. This is thought to be a dramatic underestimation of the island's total nesting potential. But these are not the only rare animals that nest here, nor are they the most abundant. Collectively, the Chandeleur Islands host some 215,000 nesting birds each year. This is the largest nesting site in the entire state. Its location and warm climate also make it an ideal wintering ground for migratory red knots, redhead ducks, piping plovers, and an array of other species. And each winter, they arrive by the tens of thousands. As critical as this habitat may be for its seasonal visitors, for the Chandeleur gull, it is absolutely essential. A reproductively viable hybrid of kelp and herring gulls, this endemic species nests nowhere else on Earth. But in the span of only a few decades, the Chandeleur gull population has plummeted from approximately 100 birds in the 1990s to just 24 documented sightings in 2023. Make that 28. Captured here on film for the very first time, these 4 chicks could be among the final generations of Chandeleur gulls on the planet. Though scientists once estimated that the islands would stand for several centuries to come, the latest models predict that without a concerted, large-scale restoration, many of the Chandeleur Islands will be underwater in just a few decades. But all hope is not lost. As part of Louisiana's 50-year coastal master plan, a large-scale barrier island maintenance project to restore this invaluable coastal ecosystem is already underway. Although engineering and design plans are slated to be complete by 2025, funding for the construction of the project, which will exceed $200 million, has yet to be identified. As we confront the realities of our changing environment, we must adapt and work together to restore and preserve our coastal ecosystems, safeguarding the future of the entire Gulf Coast for generations to come. As part of the Breton National Wildlife Refuge, the Chandeleur Islands host over 250,000 birds each year. Many among them are visitors, undertaking some of the longest and most daunting migrations of any animal on the planet. Ranging from the southernmost reaches of South America to the Arctic Circle, these migratory birds travel to and from more than 34 countries, and the Chandeleur Islands provide an irreplaceable safe harbor on a perilous journey. The central location of these uninhabited islands, along with their abundance of natural resources, make them an ideal stopover and wintering ground for a wide variety of birds, 38 of which are listed as species of greatest conservation need. However, as hurricanes and sea level fluctuations have intensified, 90% of the island's acreage has been lost to erosion. And in 2010, the Deepwater Horizon oil spill devastated the island's rich ecosystem, accelerating the rate of their decline and threatening their very existence. If nothing is done to restore and preserve this essential habitat, in the span of only a few decades, the majority of the Chandeleur Islands will be lost, creating a break in the global migratory chain.
My name is David Newstead. I work for the Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries program based in Corpus Christi, Texas. And there I direct the Coastal Bird program.
We caught a really good variety of shorebirds this morning. This is a willet. This bird actually breeds locally.
Over the past decade, Dr. Newstead and his colleagues have banded and tracked these shorebirds, gaining insights into just how they are able to make these epic journeys and the factors that threaten their very survival.
This bird here is a Dunlin. You see him starting to get the black belly that he gets in the middle of the breeding plumage. Another one, ruddy turnstone, another Arctic breeder. So all these birds are kind of coming here and depending on chandeleurs and elsewhere. So
we're banding them, we're taking measurements, getting an assessment of their condition, and putting some field readable leg flags on the birds. This allows us to follow individuals across time and allows us to assess things like annual survival and population size.
But of all these global travelers, there is one species whose annual voyage stands out from the rest: the red knot. From their wintering grounds in South America to their breeding grounds in the high Arctic, these birds traverse continents on their 9,000-mile trek. Though the knots may push the very limits of endurance, to survive such a journey, it is critical that they find a safe place to rest and refuel. The tidal beaches and marshlands of the Chandeleur Islands prove to be just the place.
The islands are super important because they are necessary for birds to gain their foothold, recover, because they can be flying for 7 days straight and absolutely will arrive here really underweight and have to feed before they can travel on their next journey up north.
Those tidal flats are supporting substantial populations of invertebrates, and especially the small mollusks that red knots prefer.
Like many coastal habitats around the globe, this idyllic safe haven is disappearing, threatening entire populations of these increasingly rare species.
Shorebirds, and especially these highly migratory shorebirds, are a group that's been declining for a number of years at some of the most alarming rates. These birds are really, really tied to this habitat. So if you have a loss of 50% of the habitat, you can probably anticipate a loss of 50% of the population. The positive news is that there are things that we can do about it.
Research like that of Dr. Newstead's has spurred an international effort to reverse this decline, which has been driven primarily by land loss. As part of Louisiana's 50-year coastal master plan, a large-scale effort to restore the Chandeleur Islands is already underway. The restoration project will enhance and protect over 6,000 acres of nesting and foraging habitat, and ensure the continued survival of more than 140 bird species. As an essential link in this great chain of migration, the loss of this group of islands would have devastating impacts on the health of the ecosystems and bird populations throughout the Gulf of Mexico and across the globe.
When you take care of the habitat that they require, you're taking care of the habitat that sustains us as well, and that's able to fuel these epic migrations.
The Chandeleur Islands form the very first line of defense for the rapidly diminishing coastlines of Louisiana. These uninhabited barrier islands also provide an ideal sanctuary for a multitude of plant and animal species and play a pivotal role in maintaining the biodiversity of the Gulf. Over the course of the past century, more than 89% of the island's acreage has been lost to hurricane damage, sea level rise, and disasters like the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, leaving the island's ecosystems vulnerable. A large-scale barrier island maintenance project to restore this invaluable coastal ecosystem is already underway. Funding for the construction of the project, which will exceed $200 million, has yet to be identified. As we confront the realities of our changing environment, we must adapt and work together to restore and preserve our coastal ecosystems for generations to come.